Hello, welcome back. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm gonna be making some more food for you guys today. I'm gonna be doing 3 cozy fall meals or winter meals, cold weather meals, okay? It's starting to get a little bit colder around here and I am here for it, first of all. But also, it just makes me want to bring on the comfort foods, bring on the soups and anything cozy. So that is what I'm hoping to share with you today. I will link all of the recipes I use in the description box. I get them from Pinterest usually. That's kind of my main source of inspiration. So be sure to check out those blogs because I want to give credit where credit is due. These aren't my original recipes. Also, I would love to know what your favorite go-to cozy recipes are, or a recipe that you found that just looks good and you want to try and it looked cozy. I would love to know what that is because I'm always looking for new ideas. So leave me a comment, tell me what you're cooking. I want to see.
Okie dokie. So I have got all of my ingredients lined up, ready to prepare. It's actually a pretty simple recipe. It just calls for chicken stock, chicken. This is the rotisserie chicken that I shredded from my Costco grocery haul. So that will be easy, but you could just, cook up the chicken in the moment. I need to chop up some peppers. These were sliced from some meal prepping I did the other day. And some onion, corn, black beans, rotel, cream cheese, chicken stock, and then seasonings, and then the topping ingredients. So it's, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So it should be pretty fast to get this going.
Does anyone else immediately get a messy bun on top of their head when they start cooking because you just cannot even? Yeah, cannot even. And again, I'm just not the best at following recipes, so I have no idea if I've chopped up half the red bell pepper like it asked me to, because I wasn't really working from whole peppers. And then also it calls for half an onion. I cut up an entire onion because I like onions in my soup. Okay, so I'm kind of the worst for following recipes, which is why I'm not a baker.
But this is the amount that I have. So the chopping is actually all done now. That was the only thing I needed to chop, which is really nice. So my husband picked up some of these soup ingredients on his way home today, and he informed me that he went a bit rogue because one of them is the hot version with the habaneros, which I think will actually be really good. But just so you know, that is yet another way that I have changed this recipe. Seasonings have been added. starting to smell like a taco soup. Oh wow, I completely forgot to add the corn and the beans. I'm gonna do that. That was silly. I was gonna say, the soup looks a little bit like lacking in ingredients. LOL. It is. That's better. Much better. That is looking good already. Yummy. So I've added in the cream cheese, just stirring that in. Yum. I'm gonna add the chicken in now as well. So I always use a measuring cup to serve up my soups. Is that weird? I feel like that might be a little weird, but I don't like extra things like utensils in my utensil basket, so having a ladle just feels a bit extra, I'm not gonna lie. So I think this works just fine. All right, here is the finished soup. It looks absolutely delicious. I feel like it could really use some like fresh cilantro on top just for like color purposes, but I topped it with a little bit of shredded like Tex-Mex cheese, tortilla chips that I crushed up, and avocado. Again, I feel like maybe a little cilantro on top would be perfect, and the recipe did call for that. I just didn't really feel like purchasing it just for the soup, to be honest, because I didn't have any other plans for it. So, all right, I'm gonna dig into this. It looks absolutely amazing. Let me know if you try it. The second recipe that I am going to cook is a very simple chicken pot pie of sorts. So this is a bit awkward. I'm taking loosely the Pillsbury recipe, and I'm not using Pillsbury pie crust. In fact, I'm changing the top completely. I'm actually going to use this puff pastry. I made like a vegetarian pot pie a couple months back, and I used a puff pastry on top rather than pie crust, and I liked it. So I'm basically kind of loosely following the Pillsbury recipe for the base, and then I'm just adding my own top. So this is the ingredients that you need. It's not super complicated. It's just flour, milk. I've got some leftover shredded chicken that I had frozen from the first meal. And then just some frozen vegetables. I grabbed these from Trader Joe's. They looked pot pie appropriate. Some onion, I need to chop that, butter, and chicken stock. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop my onion and get going here. Another way I'm switching up the recipe is that I'm using a little bit of this onion salt in place of the regular salt. So I will also add a little bit of regular salt. Did I forget that the pie crust, or the puff pastry, sorry, that I bought was frozen and needed to defrost? Yes, I did. Do I want to talk about this patch job? No, I do not. We're just going to ignore that and hope for the best. It will be fine. So I'm just gonna bake this for a little while because I'm gonna put the mixture on top and I want it to be a little bit cooked before I do that. So I'm gonna just pop that in the oven for maybe 6 minutes or so. All right, veggies, chicken have been added. Yum, it's looking delicious. Well, I guess it doesn't really look that good, does it? But it's going to be delicious. Can't wait. Okay, so this is what I was looking for my crust. I mean, obviously not the holes in the gaps, but that was my bad, okay? We're just gonna roll with it. But basically, I'm just gonna kind of let this settle for a minute, but it's gonna keep cooking once I add the other stuff to it. So I don't want it to be too brown. That will work just fine. It smells really good. Tip my best friend taught me was to keep a Sharpie handy in the kitchen to write the date that you open something in your fridge, because if you're like me, you stick it in there, you forget about it. Ugh. So I've been using that trick since she taught it to me, when I remember to, and it's perfect. So for those people keeping track, that is now meal 2 that I have gotten out of this same dang rotisserie chicken that I hauled in one of my previous videos. $5. And that's literally 2 meals, and I still had some left over for some sandwiches tomorrow. So I don't know. I mean, it kind of sells itself. Also, I mean, it just makes it so fast and easy too. Like, you don't have to prepare any chicken and then like shred the chicken. It's all good to go. Doing that upfront work of taking it off the bone when you first get it, clutch. So anyways, just had to point that out. Here she is. She's gorgeous. She's sizzling. Can't wait to dig into this. Pardon the hair, just got out of the shower. The final recipe that I'm gonna be making are saucy little meatloaves. I have been making this recipe literally since I think I was in middle school, maybe early high school. It's a recipe that like made the rounds in my homeschooling group. One of the moms there, I don't know if it was an original or she got it somewhere else, but I've been using it and it's delicious. I don't like meatloaf. I love this meatloaf. It is so good. It's the only meatloaf I will eat. Pretty simple ingredients too. I pretty much always have all the ingredients that I need on hand at any given time. And I will put the ingredients and short description of the directions in the description box. I don't have like a direct link or anything for you, but yeah, let's make this. It's one of my favorites. Also, you can't have meatloaf without mashed potatoes, so I am also going to do a small side of mashed potatoes and green beans. Okay, so in the bowl I've got the ground beef and I've got 1 small onion. So I'm just gonna add some ketchup now. I've made this recipe so much, I just kind of know the proportions by memory, but again, you'll have the recipe in the description, but I just kind of do a nice healthy squeeze. next item to go in are the oats. Eyeball that too. Last but not least, salt. So you kind of have to do it. It's gross, but I like to use my hands. You really get it mixed in the best this way. Plus then I can feel whether or not I need to add in more oats or egg. Actually do just a little bit more ketchup. Okay. Now once you're happy with the mixture, you're just gonna make it into little loaves. I kind of use my palm of my hand as a kind of guide to size. This, that's what you're looking for. Okay, the next step is to make the sauce. So all you need for the sauce is ketchup, mustard, and brown sugar. Add the sugar first. So it looks good. Give it a stir. A little bit more ketchup. All right, that tastes good to me. So here are the meatloaves. I'm just gonna drizzle this sauce that we've made over each one and then bake it until it is, well, done. Okay, so that's gonna go in the oven. If it starts to brown too much on top, you can cover it with some foil. I will definitely do that sometimes. I'm gonna start with it without foil first. Here they are in all of their beauty. They are honestly so good. I made the mashed potatoes, the green beans. I'm so excited. And these not freeze, well, they do freeze well, but they keep in the refrigerator super well. They make amazing leftovers. They taste just as good second, third day than they do first day. So please make these and all of the other recipes